Call Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
It's
I wish I was able to stand here and talk to something more important like the TPP, Mr Speaker, but the reality of it is, and normally I'd ignore it, but I am actually going to address it. This bill is called the Official Information Parliamentary Under-Secretaries Amendment Bill, but it should be called the Pick on David Seymour Bill. And I heard the Green member get up and immediately launch an attack on David Seymour about the comments that he had made, a vicious attack on David Seymour. And I just could not believe the hypocrisy of it, because sitting in this House during the course of this debate, I've listened to the opposition members not talk about the bill, not talk about the Official Information Parliamentary Under-Secretaries Amendment Bill, which shouldn't be directed at any individual. They've sat there attacking David Seymour the whole time. So I would have to assume that this bill was submitted with a view to attacking David Seymour. I'm actually a bit surprised at the member that's brought this bill to the House, because I sit with him on a select committee and I thought he would have been better than this. But actually, when I see who's sitting behind him, the Honourable Ruth Dyson, I think she's probably the puppeteer, and she's probably the one that's actually put this bill together. A further example of the hypocrisy is the fact that the Green member stood up and said that they had under-secretaries under a Labor-led government. She's freely admitted that, under-secretaries under a Labor-led government. The same with the Labor government. They had an under-secretary in Dover Samuels, as David Seymour pointed out. So the question is this: if they felt so strongly about an amendment like this, why didn't they do it while they were in government? I can tell you why they didn't do it: because they didn't think it was necessary. They knew it wasn't necessary. They're doing it now because they're making a personal attack on a member of this House, David Seymour, member of and leader of the ACT Party. This bill is totally unnecessary. It is going to erode the current distinction that is drawn between the executive, which is subject to the Official Information Act. And actually, Sarah Dowie made a very good point, and I agree with her, is that the minute that you start to erode that distinction, and the executive should be held accountable, and they are held accountable through the OIA, but the minute you start to erode that, the minute you can start to dangerously move into a territory or move into something called mission creep. And that is, you start off with one intent, and all of a sudden you add something else to it, and all of a sudden you decide you're going to do something else, and before you know it, you've eroded and eaten into a protection that this Parliament has, simply by introducing a bill like this. That relationship between an MP and their constituent must be protected. She's absolutely right. When constituents come to see an MP, there is complete confidentiality around what is discussed, and an MP needs to be able to act on behalf of their constituent. And a bill like this is just going to slowly move towards a mission creep and eroding that confidentiality between an MP and their constituent. A parliamentary under-secretary is not a member of the Executive Council. So that's right, they're not subject to the OIA, and neither should they be. The Minister is. The Minister is the person who is responsible for the powers and responsibility and the delegation of a Under-Secretary, and therefore that is where the OIA requests should lie, and that is where the information should be generated from. Mr Speaker, this bill therefore is unnecessary. Thank you.